There you go.
Bitch ass.
Hey, what is up, my peoples? It is good to have every one of you guys. I'm actually live on my show this time. If the DYOR people are going to come, they're going to come. If not, I understand. But we're doing this simply just to go live. Hopefully, um, Tom is able to do what we talked about yesterday. We didn't talk this morning, so I sent him the text of everything, and we'll find out. Um, Also, I need to know, do I have an echo? Is there an echo on us? And just to give you guys heads up, this is a little rough today. So I'm up in the attic here, just chilling and giving you guys heads up. If you guys let me know if there's an echo. Don't think there's an echo, but
I don't hear an echo.
yeah. But the problem is hello, hello. Okay, there we go. All right, we've got it full live. Um, Let me go ahead and do some housekeeping here real quick. Today we're going to be going over Technical Tuesday. I've got Patrick S here, um, Stefanek, Mr. Stefanek here, as I refer to him as Patty on the normal show. And we're going to go over some charts, go back and forth. We may agree with each other and we may not. But today we're going to be going over pretty much the whole entire market, from bonds to the S&P 500, all the way down into crypto and how it relates with all of our stuff. Me and Pat have similar trading styles, whereas we were trained by the same guy, but we do differ in a lot of our stuff at times because that person can be long. Oh, something's going on. Hello.
Yes, I'm here. I'm packing, so I'm gonna be in and out.
Hey, Pat, you there, bud?
Yep, yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Let's see. Pat,
Test.
you there?
Hello, hello.
Oh, I can hear you.
Perfect.
Yeah, something happened to your voice.
Nope, I'm here. I'm just helping my mom pack a bunch of stuff, so I'll just be kind of moving around. But I'm here. How's it going? Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Thanks. We got one viewer. I think it's me. Dang, what is up? Why is that crackling? Hello?
You're good. You're good, bro. I can't. No crackling on this side.
Okay, then maybe. Oh, it's coming from you.
It's coming from me.
Yep.
Oh, I know what it is.
And you're really, really soft.
I know what it is.
Oh, it's a lot better. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's see what goes on. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to post this. And
Coffee. Coffee.
Mr. Stefanik,
Hello, Mr. Garcia.
if you could go on X, and then from there, Um,
I'm actually banned on X right now. I posted some stuff. I guess that didn't.
oh, what happened, dude, for you to get banned on X?
Yeah, your account is suspended. I broke the rules.
What rules did you break? It's pretty much a limit.
Yeah, I don't even know. It doesn't say, right? But that's weird. I haven't been on here in quite some time, but yeah, it looks like my account's suspended, fortunately. Let's see here. I do have a couple though, so let me get to my other ones. Yeah, this
go
one's
through.
too. So, but I do have a third one.
Absolutely.
All right, this one's up. So, what would you like me to do there, Pedro?
Yeah, jump on my account and then copy or just repost my post on your post.
Come hang out and talk markets and charts. I got it.
Yep. Boom. Repost that. Like it.
Oh,
There.
I hit report. My bad. Let me just fix that. Oh, there we go. There.
I haven't used StreamYard in so long that you've got to now pay. Like I pay for the very basic of everything from it. Even free, dude. Like I don't understand. Am I logged in underneath me? I don't understand why they keep trying to charge me because they're already charging me. So it makes no sense.
Can you see we got some Rumble people in the building?
I do not know because I wasn't able to connect with Tom. So we're probably not streaming on StreamYard because I need the login and the DYOR Media Network. So we'll see what's up.
Roger that.
I do not know why he's probably super busy right now. He's traveling across the United States again.
Doing what?
I do not know. He's just doing his stuff.
Is he still like? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So let's go ahead and just hit this up here real quick. We'll just move forward. So starting off today, we've talked about how right now that crypto is following traditional markets and I want to call it a twin fashion, but maybe like just they're correlated in a sense. So when the S&P 500 goes up and or especially the NASDAQ, we typically see the market go up with it, meaning the Bitcoin. So right now we're going to kind of go over some major stuff with the NASDAQ. And then from there, we'll be able to play off of that. So let's go ahead and go into this. So you can see here how the NASDAQ has been pushing up here, came in, found support on our area here and pushed up. You can see how we're finding support on this 8-period moving average. And you can see here that we do have a few zones here. I'm going to look. I like this zone right here. It's near the top. But also, you can see here that these few days we have seen that they're back here. We had a decent amount of volume of sellers, right? Like right here and right here. So you can actually use this as a play. When we get to this level here in the stock market, then we should see a type of resistance coming in on this level. And when that happens, we should see some sell-off from this area.
Is that all-time high there?
Yeah, no, this is an all-time high. All-time high is 22,425.
It's a crazy recovery, right? We were in a bear market there shortly, very shortly.
Well, it's typically what happens, right? But at least right now with forever up market, but I like this area right here. Simply, it just looks like a good play there. Your biggest thing you want to be mindful of is, remember, if we decide to sell off from this level, we're going to need some major fundamental news to really stop us from going, I don't think this is going to be a short-term reversal or actually I would say pullback. So we'll sell off from probably this area here, and then from here, probably be able to play off of that. So just to give you guys heads up, so you know. One of the things I'm looking at as well is at this level is how it gets here. So one of the things, you're really cracking, bro. There's something going on now with your mic again.
Not even moving. It's very strange.
Oh, then I don't know why.
You sure it's moving?
But either way, all right. Well, it's all good. So this area is, we should see some resistance coming at this level. I don't expect a lot, but with this, when the market comes up, it all depends on how it gets into it. So we see something like this with the NASDAQ, where it comes back down, plays back into this area. And then from there, you should see it continue up hard. You should have a really big extended day up into this level. If that is something that we see, where we have a candle that looks like this. You see this big old candle where you gap up and you see it explode up. Well, if you look at the actual size of this candle, the size of this candle is about what I would say. So what is it? This is 2090. So this is, we'll say 2100. Boom, 2100 or 21,000. And this one was, so it was about 700 points.
Yikes.
So this area here, we could easily see a major, we get to that upper level within 2 candles or a candle, expect a form of a sell-off at this level here. And that's going to be that 22,245 area to the 22,136 area. And then come back and retest that 8 period, which would be coming back down to that 2100. And one of the ways you're going to be able to notice this is if, let's say today we stay at this level here. Let's say we end red, but we end red above this close of the candle. So it pretty much stays at this level with the NQ. The next day, which is going to be tomorrow, we should see it sell off. Come back down, tell, create a type of wick. We always talk about the wicks, right? And so it creates a buyer wick as it comes down, hitting the 8 period moving average. And then you should see it continue up. So be ready for that to happen it might happen by the end of the week if we are going to see a sell-off here. So this is an area here that you want to be paying attention to. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, I was going to say that also coincides with sell in May and go away, right? Where we see everybody take a break for the summer, go spend their millions they won in the markets, and we see less volume typically. So that would kind of want to see that last run up near all-time highs. So that makes sense from a macro perspective.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point. And that sell in May and go away is a real thing. Now, the last few years, we have not had it because we've had dynamic summers over the last few years with everything happening with like just around the world, right? It's just, I don't even need to go on. We know, like, just look at the news cycle for the last 2 years and during the summertime, it has been gangbusting. So we've had major moves. But within the same period, we could sit here and see how this market, if we see this sell off, where is it going to come down to? So we've got a few areas here. One of the areas that I look for, right, is obviously the gap. So this is one of the gap areas right here. And then the second one I'm looking at is typically right here. And it may take a month. We just might just do this type of thing and drive everybody nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason why I say that is because, we're kind of coming into the summertime, and I could see that happening. So we kind of do this. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. We would do this right here. It'd come up, do this, boom, come down.
Right, very hard to trade.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to trade well, not really for us, but for the average trader, it's going to probably be harder to really squeak out profit. So make sure that when you're trading this type of market, I'd expect just to take a 1-to-1. I always tell everybody when they're trading and you just don't know where that market is, quick 20-30% for the day. It's a good day. You know what I'm saying? Like 20% of the move. So if you put in $100, right? If you can get $20 off of that, cool. Especially on these days where we have a lot less volume, a lot of
Yeah.
less market movement. 20%. Now every one of us want a, a 1-to-1, a 1-to-2. But these
Especially if you're in the
markets
crypto
here.
markets. Yep.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
bud. What were you gonna say?
Especially if you're in those crypto markets, you're gonna be used to that, 10,000% gain. But we might see a little bit less volatility coming into the summer here with the futures markets. So just your expectations, right? Don't expect to see big moves, right? You got to keep your expectations in line.
Yep. And if we're wrong, we're wrong, okay? But that's kind of what I'm expecting to see, us to kind of hit this high here, and it would be the local high, and just see it just swim around the pond here and kind of go all over the place. So this is one of those areas that I like. Also, let's check out our bonds. Now, we've talked about bonds, the 1-month bond, all the way up to, or excuse me, the yields, the 1-year yields to the 1-month yield bonds, as well as the 2-year, 5-year, and 10-year, and 20 and 30. So we finally kind of gone, America has really refinanced a lot of the debt here at the beginning of the year. And it's kind of coming to an end with America's debt. And this right here, we've had some really we've had some short-term and some short-term debt and some long-term debt in particular being restructured here. So really the average pricing probably is around the 4.3 area with the short-term debt, which typically happens often real quick. But you can see here, like the 10-year is 4.8 area, and your 30 is 4.97 area. So it's actually structured the correct way, which is a good sign. And there is some healthiness to the yields. Okay. With that, when we're looking at this, I'm honestly thinking Jerome Powell has already said like he may drop rates, but all is predicated on what's happening with the tariffs and how he sees the market. So he may drop it, he may not. But if he does drop it, you can see here that our next area that I'm ready for is down at that 339 area to the 321 area here, or really the 325 to the 300 area here. And so it's, or 3.25% to the 300% right here, right in this range. I would expect it to kind of come down to. We'll find out what happens with it, but that's the 1 month. Let's check out potentially where we may see that 10-year. Come on.
That's the 30-year. What is that there that you're looking at? That's the 1-month government bond.
Yeah, this is the 1-month yield, meaning
4%. That's really good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
It's very good. Mm-hmm. Especially when you're dealing with inflation, though. Actually, especially when inflation is happening, it throws everything off. So, like, you think you're getting 4%, but inflation is 5%, but you're actually negative, and then you're like, "Oh no, what's up? No, oh no."
How do we actually buy those government bonds, those 1-month bonds?
So yeah, it's real simple. You just go, at least in the United States. I basically call it the Treasury, and you ask them basically, "Hey, I'd like to buy some bonds," and you have to pay $1,000. You have to have $1,000, but they give you $1,000 and give you 4% or whatever the current value price is.
Is that 4% on the year? So 1 month.
Yeah, this is over a year.
12? Okay.
So it'd be basically about 0.4.
Yeah.
Or 0.3.5% monthly.
Yeah, gotcha.
And the majority of the time it's accrued. Like when it comes to bonds, it's not compounded, right? So it's just simply accrued on a monthly basis, yearly basis, however you're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And so this is one of those things that you can sit there and you can play and make some money. So if you've got a couple $100,000, $400,000, $500,000, a good price to have, right? And so, but also, mind you, if we see some major situations happening here in America, and we start to watch things happen where that are not good, well, we could then see a sell-off of bonds. So right now we're looking at the 10-year yield. Well, let's check out the 10-year bond. So remember, you're buying $1,000 for a price. Okay, so here's your 10-year bond. Come on. Oh, there. Sorry.
I guess my question is, why would people invest in the bonds if they can, stake their money in crypto and earn a far greater yield?
That is a great question.
Is that beginning to become, less attractive, the bonds, as crypto becomes more popular and accepted?
It very much could. And I think we were talking about this you were listening to Bloomberg, right? And they had said some stuff similar to that, or did I misunderstand you?
Yeah, they were basically just generally saying crypto is becoming more accepted, and big institutions are using crypto as a risk on, right? So when we're in a risky environment, we're in uncertain times. They're tending to add crypto more to their portfolios now. So that's kind of decreasing the demand for bonds, as far as what they were saying this morning.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
We had talked about here on the show months ago, probably at the beginning of last year, where I really saw major institutions wanting to really take part in what's actually happening in crypto, and that many of our stable coins would become the very people who actually buy American bonds. We know that China has been, they're selling our bonds, they're trying to get rid of things, but also because of the trade war, right? And we've talked about this almost ad nauseum here with you guys, that the trade war allowed there to be a need for the US dollar. And so what people do is they take that, they buy, or they switch their currency for American currency, because we are the world's reserve. And so I take, let's say, $100 billion in, let's say, you're from Canada. So I take, we're going to do business here. Well, you would take your Canadian dollar and you would change it from US or Canadian to US. And then from there, whatever amount that would be, you would take that money. And let's say you're going to do a consistent trade, right? You're going to consistently be trading with me. So you're going to keep those dollars for, let's say, a year or two. And so you're going to put that money into a bond, or let's say it's a 10 years, right? And you're going to be exchanging it. So your money that you have, you're going to want to make yield on it. Because if you aren't making yield, you're not making some interest on that, you're losing money because of inflation.
Yeah.
So what happens is you take that money, right? And you put it into the US Treasury by buying a bond. It's a 10-year bond because you plan on doing business with me, right? And when that happens, that then makes the need for US dollars really important, right? And so this is why we've seen a drop in the US dollar. We're going to talk about that earlier, but that's why I'm setting this up, so that when we go next to the US dollar, you understand why the US has dropped and why I expected these things to actually happen. Now, we didn't talk about this because I was trying to keep things very basic for our audience so that you guys understood. Just basically, I said, expect the dollar to go from 109 all the way down to 100 to $99, right? In relationship to exchange for the rest of the world, because we're going to see a slowdown in the actual trade. And again, you need US dollars if you're going to do a lot of trading, right? And so the need for it was slowing down. Go ahead, bud.
No, continue. This is great.
Okay. And so it's really important to understand then how this was a meta trade that we could have taken part in. It would have been fun for people to be a part of it. But right now, if you want to make a yield on your actual money that you're using, you would buy a bond. So this, say you buy a 10-year bond. Okay, so you're going to put $1,000 into the price of right here. Okay, it'd be right now it's worth about like $1,100 right here, as you can see. Now with that, you put that $1,000, you receive whatever amount of bonds that you're trying to get, and then from there you receive an interest rate. Now, it's really important to understand. If bonds drop, okay, your $1,000, because here's the thing, you get your $1,000 back plus interest. But if bonds drop after 10 years, what's going to happen is you won't receive back your full $1,000 because bonds drop. Remember, you bought a bond at this price point and it dropped to here. This is why people say bonds and yields are inverse. They go like this, right? Because it's a relationship that plays between the two. And so with that said, now we talked about kind of the global movement in the market. As you guys can see right here, let's check about the dollar, because we actually, let's talk about where I expect the US, the 10-year dollar or the 10-year bond going first. So we've consolidated quite a bit. We talked about it coming down to this area here, and I said I expect us to start climbing up here, because once America really starts to establish a lot of the jobs, a lot of the manufacturing that's going to be happening here, right? And this need for people wanting to actually do business with us, because
the trades, right, that we got going on. Like Trump just has so many deals going on right now with a bunch of countries. He's enticing other countries to come in and trade with the States. So once they start to trade with us, now we're going to have to make and manufacture those goods, which is going to strengthen our dollar.
Exactly. And so this idea of being able to trade, or this trade here with the 10-year, will strengthen the bonds. Hence, strengthening the bonds will then people want to buy, because from a financial standpoint, our country becomes stronger. Mm-hmm. And once our country starts to become stronger and more fiscally stable, then we should start to see the bonds move up, continue up. And then from there, I think we're going to get back up to the 137 area, the 141 area. This is going to be crazy. This is going to be a crazy trade. But just like back in 2021, right, I said, expect us to come down to this level. Everybody thought it was crazy as well. So let's prepare for that. You can see here, we're already putting in higher lows. You have a low here, you have a higher low, and you have a high and then a higher high. Now we have a higher low, and we're setting up for this to kind of go back up and test this 200 period moving average sitting right here. And so that's what I'm expecting us to do. You can see here that the market here, and typically during the summertime, we do see kind of the stock market kind of goes sideways, or if not down a little, right, until we have earnings in the fall. Well, if the stock market is going down, we then should see that the bonds go up. They're inverse of each other.
I just want to point out too.
I'm sorry, my brain just completely threw that off. No, bonds are typically the same movement of the market, but here's the thing. Again, they're not twins. They're inverse, or they're correlated, but also there's a time where they will decorrelate and stop following each other. So I think we're going to see bonds push up, hit the 200 period moving average here, come back down to about the 110 area, and then shoot back up to the 111. Again, breaking this, come back down a little. So it should look something, what I'm looking at, is something like this right here, pop right here, and then go up.
Yeah. And you can also see, I just want to point out those two moving averages that you got there. It looks like it's the 200 and the 100, right?
No, so this is the 400.
Okay.
So I look at the 400, this part right here, because typically this is a good indication of really long-term bearish movements when that starts to happen. And so you're going to see some ping-ponging off the 400 and the 200.
Where's your 100?
My 100 is right here, next to the 89, as well as the 100. My 100's right here. You see it?
You said that blue one?
No, the blue one is the 89.
Okay.
The only difference of the colors is just that I have a 400 period moving average that I look at, but everything else is exactly what Chris does.
Right. Yeah. No, looks like the 200's coming down, right? We're coming to meet that 200. And,
Mhm.
one of the really good bullish signs is that 100-day and that 200-day having that golden cross, which is very, very popular in all finance. Every institution, Bloomberg, they all look at this golden cross as a very bullish indicator, and you can bet that it has a lot of power with price. So you can see we're kind of anticipating that cross coming up, and like Pedro says, we have a lower low, higher high. We're coming together. We're coming to push up. So once we get that cross, expect a pullback or some basing to build a big position, and we'll see an explosive move up. Very bullish looking picture.
Just checking y'all out while I work. Oh, dude, we got Baby Draco from Infineon Official Mascot. So thank you for showing up. Shout out, man. If you could do us a quick favor, bro, hit that like button. Right now, this is just simply our. I'm doing this on the days that Tom doesn't go live because he's traveling across the country. And so when he's super busy and stuff like that, I've now said, because I used to, that's actually how we met, was I had my own show, Tom had his own show, and then Tom had such a dope setup. I said, you know what, man? He's like, dude, you called the market. I go, I like what you do over there. So it was like a match made in heaven. Like love at first show. So, so Draco, that's what's up, man. You're just basically seeing me here right now. Tom, what did
I'm not taking over Tom's position, although
no.
that could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm just saying, we're testing the waters here a little bit. I'm also I love charts, crosses, SMAs. Like Pedro said, we have the same mentor. So
yeah.
A lot of the stuff, the way we see the charts is the same. Not all,
but there are times that we do see the market different, and and I think that's cool. You
told me not to buy Bitcoin, and I bought it last week. Yeah, it did go up.
You did. I told him, hold up, I'm expecting it to drop, and
I was like,
and he got in. He got in. And he made some money, so I'm happy, man. Anytime a brother can make money, to get it.
Yeah, I got like a 16% gain. I'm out now, but yeah, it was a great move. Yeah.
Nice move, man.
Yeah.
People love buying Bitcoin when it is up. Yeah, but man, we talk about shorts and longs here all the time. So it's not really going long or going short buying. It's just simply going in and just making sure you're on the right side of the market. That's all that matters, right? Is market go down, short. Market go up, buy. So
yeah,
or some form of it. So where is it at? Did I post? Yeah, I posted this already in the DYOR media Telegram. Boom. You start to see all the guys. All right, the guys that come in here. I wish I would have bought one when it went down to 10K. Yeah. Man, I wish I would have bought. What is it? I literally remember when it was sitting at $1. I remember that moment when somebody was like, "Oh, Bitcoin's at $1," and I was like, "Oh, really?" And it was a friend of mine who was telling me about it. And then the next friend of mine said, "Oh, Bitcoin just hit $100." Oh shoot, we got Mr. Hurley Heat in the house. What's up? Shout out. And we got Tom's friend, or we got Tom's replacement. I meant stand-in. Patty Stefanek. So shout out. Say what's up, Patty.
Yo, what's up? Crack-a-lackin' from Canada representing.
He's from Canada too. He's a Canuck. What do they call you guys? Canuck or?
Oh yeah, Crazy Canucks. That's what's up.
Crazy Canucks. Still in traffic at the U.S.-Canada border. Hey, if you could do us a quick favor. I sent you did I send you the right thing for you to post on our YouTube channel? I don't know if I did or not. So, Tom, that's in your hands. Baby Draco says, "Back, you seen it at $1." Yeah, Yeah. Fact. Yeah, that's true. Didn't even know what Bitcoin was then. I did. I literally had a friend of mine. I went to a wedding where a friend of mine was like, he's like, what do you it was back in 2008, like 8 and 9. Everything was just starting to fall apart. And I went back home for a wedding, a friend of mine, and another friend of mine who was like, great guys. Like, I was such a tool as a kid, man. I think I ruined that relationship, but I'm leaving that one alone. But anyways, long story short, I ended up.
What did you learn? What did you
What's
learn?
up?
What did you learn from that?
I learned it doesn't matter who you are, what you always need to listen. Always listen. Never think that you know something over, like state your opinion, but also listen to other people. He was telling me, yo, I think Bitcoin's going to be and the guy was a smart guy, really smart guy, very thoughtful, very inquisitive, detail oriented. And he was telling me, like, he was literally saying, I think Bitcoin's going to be a big deal. I'm going to buy it. I think you should get into it. And I said, bro, that's for gazy, bro. We're good. That's for the birds, man. Get out of here with that. And he's like, no, man, I think you should be paying attention to it. And I know he really got into it. And this was when it was under like $1. So I know he's probably sitting very well, doing very well for himself. And but I gotta listen, man. If you know somebody who's thoughtful, who's caring, who's smart, and detail oriented, and they're telling you something, you should probably listen and say, what did you say? That was one of the big. I've had a few of those on my lifetime, and now I just. What'd you say? I may disagree with you, but I want to hear what you have to say. I think it's definitely one of those things that like I'm like now, because you don't know if you're coming up on something. And the other thing I learned is, if I would just thrown $100 in, I would have had 100 Bitcoin. And at that time, dude, I was like, I would have thrown $200-300 in, because I used to blow $200-300 back then when we just partying, going out to the club and drinking, because I was in the military. So dumb, like just dumbness, man. What does Baby Draco say? Boom. Bitcoin was then. Didn't even know what it was. Tom, he's a viewer, not a presenter today. Yep, nice. I've always said, learn from those that have more than you. Yeah. Well, at the time, we were just getting started in life. Nobody really had anything, right? And so he was smart, and he was going to school to be a theologian. Went to school, learned a lot about the Bible, and good guy, just really, really good guy. I don't want to say his name, but he's just his sister's an actress now. I see her in movies now. Yeah, always had a little crush on his sister. I think she always was like, ew, you're my brother's older friend. But
nah, she says, who knows? You know what I mean? But,
nah, I mean, we were kids, man. We were kids. But he was smart, man. I should have listened to him.
Wise theologians are wise. Yeah.
Wise man. He was a wise man. He is a part of what is it? There's a whole entire
cult.
No, not cult. There are cults, but he's not part of anything. What is those? Like a thespian. There's like a thespian guild. He is on the scholar. That's what it is. He's on the scholarly guild or whatever. There's like a list of just like scholars, and he's on that. So it's actually pretty cool. What else?
What's his name again?
Huh?
What's his name again?
I can't give you his name. That would just be, yeah. But he was the one who was telling me about Bitcoin back in 2008, 2009. And
when did you actually get involved? When did you get involved in Bitcoin?
About 4 years ago. The last bull run, the end of the bull run, towards December. I started getting into crypto summer of I would say end of the summer, so July, August of 2021. And then after that, it sold off. And I remember Bitcoin, it was coming down from the 60,000. It was coming down from the 60,000, and it sold off to about 30,000.
Yeah.
And then it was coming back up to test the 200 period moving average. And I said, and that was around 45,000 at the time. And it hit it. And I was telling everybody in my community, because I got into a coin there. And I said, all right, guys, well, we should see Bitcoin drop from here down. And somebody asked, I actually got in trouble with my community because I was saying, yeah, we're going to see Bitcoin drop. And they're like, dude, you don't know that. And I go, well, I'm pretty confident. Got a really big old zone here. We've got our SMA here. That's a 200. It's most likely going to hit that and see it drop at least back down to the 30,000. Just saying, like, that's what I'm expecting. And so they asked me not to do any more TA.
They don't want to hear bearishness on their bullish positions.
Who does, bro? I don't want to hear it.
That's the problem when you're not open-minded to going both ways.
Yes.
You get stuck in your bias, and you pay the price.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What did Baby Draco just say? Because people that make money don't usually tell you. And if they do, and if they so, you better listen. Exactly. It's true. So how rich is he now? Oh, I don't know. He's wealthy. I mean, I'll just say he's probably wealthy. And that's good for him, man. I'm glad, man. I'm glad he's wealthy. I actually lost track of him. I actually tried reaching out to him when I started getting into crypto because I wanted to ask him questions about it. And he just never responded back to me. So I figured maybe just, we were 26, 27. Actually, we were 28, 27, 28 at the time. So we were just growing out of being a kid, and you're kind of, learning yourself. And every guy knows, like, there's that moment in time when you hit like 28, 29, 30, where you look back at the last 10 years and go, I should have died there. What was I thinking? All of a sudden, like, you actually start really thinking things through and processing things. So
it's more like I'm 30 years old. In 10 years, I'm going to be 40, and I don't have my stuff together. I better
get my stuff together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, literally. And then you struggle. You struggle to really get ahead, and life is hard, and you lose momentum. You get upset. You're like, come on, and so that's a good thing.
The housing prices are way too high. It's tough.
Yeah, it's true. Stuck in a tunnel vision and discard what other. Yeah, I did. I was foolish. But I learned, and now I'm open and just want to hear people and love on people. Honestly, it's all about not trying to prove anything. Just show respect and love people. It's really when it comes down to it. Housing. I live in San Francisco. Ooh, that hurts. Don't tell me about housing. Yeah, I lived out in California in Central Valley for a while. So
yeah, I'm in Vancouver, Baby Draco. So yeah, I hear you, man. It's getting above expensive. That's for sure. It's just ridiculous.
Absolutely. So real quick, let's check out the dollar. So we've talked about the 10-year here and what I expect to see. So these are the prices that I'm looking at here. If I am going to see it pull back to an area where we could actually see this area, or where is this right here? And August, there we go. Well, so I like this area right here as a resistance level, and this is going to be a monthly zone here. So I would expect us to see us come down at least to this area here. And let me go ahead and mark this as a monthly zone. Boom. At least come in, and we should see some type of resistance here as the market comes back down on this monthly zone here on the 10-year. We'll find support, and then we'll see it continue up from this level here. Like I said, that the 114, the 116 area is going to act as some type of resistance. But really, I feel like this area here, we should see that 122 area act as a strong resistance and see it kind of really pull back to something like this where it comes back down and then comes back down to the highs here. So you can see as it pushes up, comes back down.
Look at that volume too.
Yeah,
The volume
yeah,
down
yeah.
there. Super
That's the
bullish.
key, the volume. That's why I'm so bullish on this, because these low levels, you were able to buy up a lot of bonds at really good rates here. You know,
Yeah,
this is when.
20.
Go ahead.
2020 there on the volume. You can see you got 3 increased candles. 2020 on the volume bar there. Go down to the volume there and go all the way back to 2020. Keep going. You see those 3 candles, 1, 2, 3 at the high, and then we
Yep.
sold off all the way to the bottom. Well, look at, we sold off all the way to the bottom, and now we have, look at that insane volume down at the lows. So you know
Right.
that are getting a real good price, right? They always get the bottoms and the tops. So that's a really good indicator of some bulls coming up.
Exactly. And
Crazy.
you nailed that, because this idea here is we also had really, really good interest rates. Interest rates were fairly high around this area. Remember, around 2025, we saw interest rates really catch and kind of get up to 5%, right? A lot of the guys bought in our bonds around 5%, 6%. And so with this said, with a lot of the new infrastructure coming into America and us actually selling things and actually making money as a nation, which allows certain things to actually go up, this should really bode really well and with America over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very bullish on us getting up to here within at least 3 to 4 years, getting up to these highs here.
Yeah, they can't hide. They can't hide when they get their money in.
Dude, look
They can't.
look at that, dog. Look. I mean, it's just, look, you know, and
Yeah.
versus, like, and even here, right? Like this was good volume as they were selling off, but they were selling off the majority of their stuff right here. And when we say they, meaning institutions, right? So they were definitely getting rid of stuff, but you can see here now, right? You can see the correlation between what Patty was saying here. And I always draw the phallic symbols. I do not know why I do. This area right here, you can where was it? Right here. It wasn't there. It was right here.
I mean, those candles that came in there, they pushed up, they broke all-time high, and they just had buyers going on the fritz. They're probably screaming at the news, buy, 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 whereas they're sell, sell, sell.
Yeah.
And they're getting that top dollar price. What happened? They just dropped the market all the way down. So,
Absolutely. So you can see they came down here to this lower level. Now they're just putting a nice little base. This is algorithm stepping in, setting up basically some major buys. And this is going to be major. You see, this is going to be the happy smile guy here.
yeah.
Look at him. Look at that nice little nose right there. They were able to buy it. It's low here. I honestly thought we might get down to the 104 area.
Doesn't look like it now.
But yeah, nah. And so they're happy. And now we should see it go up here. Boom.
Every pullback,
Come back down.
buyer, you know.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's check out. Do you have anything else you want to say, Pat, on it, or do you want to go to the dollar?
No, that looks good. Great analysis.
Why? Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, I also want to. This is one thing I totally forgot to do this right here. So we've been talking about India, everything that's happening with India. India has been doing some gangbusters, man. So we saw a sell-off here with what was actually happening when Trump was talking about tariffs, what was actually going on. When he got into office in November, you can see here, this is where everything just sold off. But it was major because if you look at it, India almost sold off, I think almost 30% here at this level, but they hit a strong, the weekly 200 period moving average, and you saw it kind of come in. So with what's happening with America's new relationship with India, and India showing a lot of strength militarily wise, in relationship to what we saw with Pakistan, China itself is starting to bow out. I mean, they're still trying to fight for their life, really. Not China. The CCP is trying to fight for their position in the world. And so what's interesting is we're watching a lot of India starting to step in and wanting to take China's place as the world's producer. Now, I don't think America is going to allow that fully. I think we're going to really start to diversify our manufacturing and all over the world. And plus, home here, We need manufacturing here, simply just to make sure that we can produce goods, we can produce chips, we can produce war machines if we need to here in America instead of abroad from point A to point Z, right? That's actually probably one of the biggest things that as Americans we don't understand. We spend a lot of money, we put into a lot of countries by building our own stuff. And how much of that stuff that actually get built that may have nefarious things that are going on. Most people don't realize the majority of our drones are literally built in China. Actually, all of them. And so we need to bring that home. It needs to be built domestically so that we can make sure that we can go from point A to point Z and really make sure we have a full grasp of that. And so my fingers crossed on that. But I do like China. Excuse me. I do like India because one thing is that India is showing a lot of strength. And so if you're looking to, if you've thought about maybe going to markets, you can actually buy India's ETF at INDA. I think it's cool. Again, this is not financial advice, but this is definitely, oh, baby Draco. Did you hear that speech Trump gave with the Arabs? Yes, I did. Yeah, it was real interesting. We won't go into that part here right now, but we'll go into that. We'll definitely go into that here in a second. But here we go.
Yeah, India, what is it? 80% of the students who are going to college are pursuing master's degrees.
Yeah.
So they're like, as far as technology goes, they're really going to be some heavy hitters. Their education.
They already are.
Yeah.
They already are. I mean, they are, the nation itself is educated, they're driven, and they kind of need some infrastructure or establishing of like local infrastructure, like a really good sewer system and things like that. But that just comes with time. And so if they keep doing what they're doing, we could see some major big plays here with them. So be looking. This is one of those things that you can take part in with India, which is a ETF here, or you can find whatever ETF you're trying to find and get in with them. But let's go ahead here. With the US dollar here now. So we talked about
Trump. What did Trump get in? January 20th, I think.
Yeah,
January
around there.
20th,
Yep. Inauguration. Yep. January 20th. Yep.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, we've actually seen a lot of stuff happen. So from the moment he got into office, literally, I mean, it's just been gangbusters. Like you can see here.
January 20th. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, January 20th. He immediately, first thing he talked about, tariffs. First thing he said when he got into office after he swore in, and then he spoke to everybody, and he just said, "Listen, we're gonna do tariffs." So immediately, people started selling off the dollar because that means, just like we talked about this earlier, a constriction of a need for U.S. dollars. People returning it back, and basically just watching everything unfold what we've seen over the past year. Now, we talked about on this day what I expect the US dollar to do. And I said, expected to come down to that 100, if not the $99 area here, because this area is really the area that we saw the market kind of come down to prior, where it put in a new high here. So that's why I expected, and it acted like a support line here. You can see here back in 2023, we hit it. And then we came close down in 2024. So I expected us to at least come down to here, 99. And really that 98, 97 area here is where I thought. And we talked about basically a need because of the slowdown in the economy. And if there isn't such a need, if America is producing its own self, we're going to want people to buy our goods and services. So we want a low dollar. Plus the fact that we've slowed down the trade for the actual, or we've slowed down trade in the economy from a I don't know why I can't remember the name of what I'm trying to say. But basically, from a meta level, if the rest of the worlds are no longer trading as much, their need for US dollars aren't going to be as much. So we want to keep our dollar so that people want to buy our goods and services at around the 100 to $90 area. So I said expect us, and this was back in November, it to come down to here, kind of consolidate, and to kind of see it do this type of thing in this level.
Pedro, I have to go. Sorry for interrupting, but I gotta go here. We gotta take a bunch of stuff up to the Reuse It Center, and I'm needed elsewhere. But thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being.
I hate you because I always watch the guys on Nexus budge in front of everybody else. So yeah, great job in the Nexus line, buddy. But yeah, Pedro, thanks. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks, brother. All right, later, bye. Alrighty, guys. So here you go. Patty had to jump out, but hey, there you go. Let's go ahead. And, alrighty. Okay, next, let's go ahead here. So we talked about the US dollar coming down. We've been now watching it go and consolidate here and kind of just wait and seeing what's actually happening here. So, like I said, this area here, 101 to that 97 area, I would expect to see some just consolidating here until we really know what's actually going to happen in the market here. And once the world really understands where they sit in relationship to tariffs and what they can do, then we'll start to move forward, and we may see an increase in trade around the world. We will, but the other part behind it is we might see this go up and then go down. But I think we're going to keep it around that $100 to $97 mark area, just to make sure it makes America look advantageous. And the other part behind this is if the yuan stays at instead of selling off, right, and them trying to do currency manipulation, if they keep it at a steady level and make things kind of fair for Americans as a manufacturing standpoint, I would expect us to see the market play accordingly. And then you actually have real market forces kicking in versus a manipulation of currencies. So just giving you guys heads up on that. Let's talk about, here we go, let's check out the yuan. Yuan. I always forget which one it is. Is it this one? I think so, yeah. I think it's this one right here. So you can see simply if the US or if the Chinese yuan starts to go up and starts to actually play off of real market forces, then this would be actually a good sign, right, of what's actually happening in the world. So I'm just looking at this here. Yeah, right here, it's really kind of like, where are you at here? There you go. Give me 1 second, Draco. Laugh a lot. I didn't throw up any gang signs. That's funny. Thanks, Patrick. Boom. Chirac. Here we go. There we are. Boom. So I'm going to see, we could see the yuan play in between here real quick. So we'll see what happens. If it breaks out above here and we start to see a climb, that is potentially a good situation for American business, as our dollar should keep within the range. You got Super Mario on the background. Oh, is that the music? Is it too loud? What's going on? Is it too loud? 1 second. We'll call it daydream here. A bit lower. In the background. All right, so we've got the US dollar, or not the US dollar, the yuan going on right here. I'm expecting it to stay within this level here as well. And we'll get my key is I want to see the yuan actually start to pick up. If people start to do business again with China, then we should see. They've already said that they're not going to take the US dollar, supposedly. So, and try to stick to the BRICS. Trump made it very clear, if you are a part of BRICS, he's going to just tariff you. Like, it's just, he wants to make things difficult. So I'd expect the yuan to go up. Where do I think we could potentially see get up to? Well, let's see here real quick. Trade it through. Where's it at? Oh. Oh, I guess they don't show the volume there. Fair. Why would I expect anything less from China? Actually, not China. It's the CCP. Forgive me. You can take part in these type of moves. So yeah, the 14 cent and the 15 cent area is what I'm looking at, really. All right, let's check out crude oil here. Crude oil, we talked about this playing to be in a range of the 55 to 45 area here. It came down to our area, but it's been fluctuating between that 62 and 54 area. And so we're coming back up looking like to test the 8-period moving average on crude oil, which is going to be $68 or 68. Where is it at? 67.92 area. So I might come back up here before it heads on down. My biggest key though is that we haven't really put in a lot of volume here. So this volume is sus, simply because I'm looking at it right here and we're almost 2/3 of the way done with the month, and we're barely seeing enough volume. It's barely a half, right? And so that's why I think it's gonna be lower than that. And then from there, we'll see it turn around for the month. But it would look something like this, expecting kind of to go up, play around this area, and then come back down and play again in this area for next month or within the next couple months. And so crude oil is doing what we expect so far. Nat gas is kind of consolidating. Today was a big day for nat gas, though. It's good. It's a good little rally. It caught it up, but it was one of those things that took a minute for it to get going, though, for this morning. But once it caught some wheels, it started rolling. It got me rolling. It's A-N. All right. Anyways. I don't even know what is going on in my mind. And so remember, nat gas opens up on the future around 9 o'clock East Coast Standard Time. So that this was this move here as it pushed up. Here we go. Gold. Gold is looking sexy AF. It's looking like it's kind of selling off. We expected this to kind of continue down, but this thing is showing some strength, so it decided to go up this morning. My biggest concern here with gold is that, like, we've got certain news coming up this week, and so we'll see what happens. But ultimately, I feel like we should expect this to go down. If America's economy and things finally get going with tariffs, they die down, and we start to see some stability come to the market, you're going to see people deleverage off of gold and get into assets again. And so, with that said, we could see the market during the summertime consolidate as people are buying in so they can stay in a range for that summer. And then after in the fall, you can see it get going again once earnings and everything start kicking up again. So one of those things that we're looking at. Now let's go ahead. Now, most people don't realize that copper, and we've talked about this, how copper is so crucial to the economy. It is the bellwether of it. It basically communicates, hey, if people are buying a bunch of copper when it's low, what happens is that shows, hey, guess what? We expect to see some form of building. And the primary person who's been buying a lot of that copper, guess who? CCP, China. So right now, with their circumstance and what's actually happening, we don't know if they're going to, obviously going to keep buying, but just with the kind of turmoil going on with inflation around the world, especially with what's happening with the tariffs. Now, granted, tariffs are not inflation, but they can be inflationary, right? If people don't want to lower, if businesses don't want to lower their prices, then what will happen is expect to see it, kind of increase. Or is the business going to eat the actual cost of tariffs? And so it's going to be one of those interesting things that happen here. But the reason I bring this up is as we look at copper is kind of consolidating here. And we're watching it as it's consolidating here. I would expect to see copper kind of come back down to these levels here again, which is going to be that $4 area, $4.390 area. If this holds during the summertime, as we kind of play down in here, and expect it to go up during this kind of during the winter, not the winter time, but during what we're going to see here. Now, the key point is most buildings on the northern hemisphere gets built or really gets pushed during the summertime, right? Because concrete needs heat to really solidify. And so a lot of times you see a lot of contracts actually happen during, December, January, February, March to really get going with it. So you can see here, there was some major buying of copper here at these levels here. So with that said, I'd expect to see some form of it going up. And that's what we're seeing here. But ultimately, it all is predicated on, are they going to be able to is China going to keep able to keep growing at 5% like they posted? And I'm saying that facetiously because the CCP has been, the rest of the world knows that they lie a lot about their reports. There's a lot of reports that they don't even report anymore, literally because it just looks bad on them. And so with that said, this is why I think we're going to see the actual we're going to see copper drop, because again, are they going to build ghost cities? Everybody knows there's ghost cities. Even the Chinese people know that the CCP is lying about a lot of the statistics about the nation. So would they be smart to sit there and come clean and say, you know what, you were right? Or are they going to keep building ghost cities? So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I am expecting not crude oil, but I'm expecting us to see copper to drop here back down to that $4, $3. And potentially, if this thing gets some wheels, we can actually come back down to that 366, 350 area, which would be a healthy demand, especially for a lot of people that are in construction, because right now it's high prices, especially when it comes to trying to really build a building at 466. That's a pretty big jump. Anyhow, let's go ahead and go to the next thing here. And this is going to be NVIDIA. NVIDIA has been really fun. The reason why I say that is because you can see here, I expected this to go down. I did. I really did. But with what Jensen is really bringing to the market and what he's doing, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. So we're back up here. I was really hoping to buy in at that low level, 78, 75 area. Unfortunately, it didn't get down there. And so we got close, though. We did get close. We got to the 86 area here. We're pushing up here. We've got okay volume. It ain't like gangbusters, but it's decent amount of volume. And you saw a lot of people pick up a lot of it right here as it pushed up. I expected this to go down here once it came back down, but it did not. So we're now pushing up. One of the things I am looking at is really this area here on the monthly. We should push through here because there's not a lot of volume sitting in this level here. So we should push through this area here as it continues up. And it could potentially hit that 153 area. Now, I got this call wrong. Well, wrong and right? I would call it dropping from the 150 down to the like 70. We had a few junction points here. This one here around the 101 area. And then we also had this lower area of that 78 potentially. Now I want to add this here on a monthly chart. We could keep going higher. But as you all know, I say, what's the volume doing? Where is the volume? Well, look, the volume isn't so big, right? And so this is where I'm a little hesitant to sit there and say we're going to continue all the way up to all-time highs. I think we're going to probably stop around here or towards the end of next week. So you're going to see some profit taken from the institutions. So with that said, where would it go? It's going to come back and test this area right here of that 111. So let's go ahead and look at the 111 area. That's this area right here, 111, 110, which was previous resistance, now become demand. And so this is where I'm expecting this to kind of play and kind of come back down. So if you missed it at 80, 86, I like it down at that 111, 105 area here. We'll see some consolidation and then push back up. And with the idea of the market at large showing weakness, I'd expect to see this show some weakness as well. Let me go ahead here real quick and see what everybody's saying. Oh, wow. Not loud at all. I see you hating. We rolling, trying to catch me riding dirty. Laugh a lot. I miss your reservations about the gold chart. Bullish? No. Well, it all depends, right? It depends on what's going to happen. But I'm actually thinking the market may actually drop. I am. The reason why I say this is simply because certain things that are happening in the chart, we're not seeing a lot of volume per se coming in. And so the idea of sell in May, come back, at the end of summer, is what I'm expecting. Oh, what's up, Crypto Mike? Crypto Mike's in the house. What's up? That's $70. Okay, all right. Mr. Mike, what's up? But yeah, this is what I'm kind of expecting to see the market here do, at least when it comes to NVIDIA. Now, let's check out a couple other ones here real quick. Google played off our area here. We sold through the 107 and came down to that 150 area. I talked about us potentially hitting that 103 area, but this area is going to act as support. So I'm expecting us to kind of play here right now. Google is having issues in relationship to what they're with how big they are. They are, there's rumors of them being split up by the U.S. government simply because they're too large and they're a monopoly. But I almost feel like just recently we saw they came out with Gemini 2.5 and it was phenomenal. I mean, it blew everybody out of the water when it came to the testing and the intelligence of the AI model. And there's this part of me, it's like, look, I would almost put stipulations on Google saying, because I feel like we need to get to AGI before China, before the CCP does. If the CCP gets to AI general intelligence, then you might be in a communist country in the next few years. Because with and I hate to say this, once it hits AGI, and there is a real AGI in the world, all you have is a few months, and that thing will be smarter than anybody. And then it gets to SAI, which is super intelligence, AGI, artificial intelligence. It'll be super. Why am I having a hard time? SAI, super artificial intelligence. There you go. Wow, that was hard. Talking about intelligence. Definitely not me. Well, what I'm saying though is this: is once it hits SAI, it changes everything. And so this is where I almost want the U.S. government to leave them alone. Like, let them get to ASI, right? And then from there, if you need to break them up, cool. But at least we've reached the atom. Now we can split the atom, right? Because right now there's a real need for us to get to ASI before China does, or before the CCP. And the reason why I keep bringing a delineation between China and the CCP is only because right now there almost seems to be this, like, there's a lot of turmoil in China happening right now, riots, and so this, a lot of the population isn't too happy with the CCP. But we'll see what happens there. So that's why I keep delineating between the two. Hey guys, Draco says, I need to own some stocks. Yeah, I mean, right now I can't tell you what to do, but things are low right now. They're not at the lows, but you're at a good 20% drop here. So you can pick up some here. Amazon also came down to our area here of that 170, that 166 area, and then we saw it push back up to the 205. This right here literally sold off 20% from its highs. So you can see here, you could have picked up down at these lower levels. Again, I always assume it's going to go lower, right? Because I always want to think, but you always pick up at it at the low levels here, right? These low levels here. Also, many of these companies pay dividends. And so you can receive dividends off of, in addition to capital appreciation, much like what we see within crypto, right? Like, let's say you hold Crow. Crow is one of those ones that you could actually get in on and receive capital appreciation in addition to receiving the staking rewards that correlate with it. So it's smart to be able to play both, right? Stock, traditional finance, as well as crypto finance as well, and DeFi, right? Because there is a difference between the two. There, you need to separate between DeFi and CeFi. All right, Apple, again, we talked about this here. Apple's been playing possum. It did lose its ranking as the highest capitalization stock out there. And you now have Microsoft and NVIDIA now playing back and forth, fighting. I was looking at the capitalization today, so it's been really interesting to see actually how they've been playing off each other. But Microsoft has come in like a rock star and just started taking heads, literally. It's been actually crazy with what they have going on with the AI, with Copilot, with OpenAI, and what they have going on there as well. So let's check out Microsoft. Microsoft. There we go. Microsoft is showing some major strength here. As you can see, it's almost at the all-time high here. and it literally sold off almost 25% again. Like you can see, it was almost at 500 or 450, tapping around there, and it sold off all the way to 345. So we're talking that was a major sell off here, and literally within what is it, a month, April, May, it's actually and I mean it's just exploding. So it come down and huge gap up in one day from 395 all the way up to 223. So it's a big jump there, almost 10% in one day. Actually, it's more. What is that? 397 to, yeah, about 30%, 30%. So in one day, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Actually, 10%. I don't know why I'm thinking 20. It's going to be 5 to 10% jump there. So that was a pretty big jump. Now, the other thing I say, would you say I need to own some stocks? All right, perfect. Tesla has been showing, obviously had some major issues in relationship to what happened with Trump and Elon and everything correlated with that, with many of the liberals, far left liberals. Let me make sure I clarify on that, because I have many friends of mine who are still Tesla lovers and they still drive a Tesla. I had a friend of mine I was talking to, and he's like, dude, that whole entire thing is crazy. Like, he's still the same man. I may not agree with who he voted for and supported, but the reality is, and my friend brought this up to me, who is a liberal, said Trump was a liberal. I remember back in the 80s and 90s, he was very much a liberal. So this idea behind liberals hating him is just silly. And he goes, he even said he bought some stock Tesla. I was like, shut up, get out of here. He goes, dude, at that low price. He goes, liberals are fickle, man. They don't remember jack. So he's like, I'm definitely buying the stock. Which I thought, smart man. That's smart. Absolutely smart. So with that said, I'm seeing Tesla here showing some strength here, really, as you can see from the lows here, going from 215 all the way up to 230 or 356. We're seeing it show some good strength here. It's gone up at least by 50% that we're seeing here. And so one of the things I'm definitely seeing is if we can see some major volume coming in, it'd be great. Unfortunately, we're not. So I would expect to see a bit of a sell-off, kind of come back down here towards the end of the month. And I would expect to maybe potentially get back to the lows of the 342 area and potentially test this gap area as we come down to test this. And so you can see right there. Let me make this into a low. Oh no. There we go. This is weekly. Boom. So you guys can see here that Tesla trade there come back down to this area. But if it breaks through this area, the next level is at the lows here on the weekly, monthly, the same thing. If daily here, this would be there's really nothing there except for that 307. So if we do see a bit of a sell-off, I'd expect to see kind of test that 50 period moving average on the daily here. It is again that 267 area. Meta, talk about a play. Meta has come out with those new glasses, and as well as Google did and Apple did. Now I wonder, we talked about this. Apple's cell phone has just taken a dump on consumers. I mean, it's literally just, I hear people complaining all the time. The All In podcast, which is one of the biggest podcasts in the world next to Joe Rogan, literally, and this is what kind of cracks me up, which is talking trash about Apple's product. And was just like, look, their cell phone, just some of the basic operations can't even get correct, let alone. So, but then they came out with the glasses. So I wonder if they're really making a play from the cell phone to, I don't know what they're going to call it exactly, but really come out with a completely new system for the glasses. And you just go, bloop, hey, what's up? And then you're like, oh, let me pull up the app store. And also you go like this, bloop, and you cut through the apps and you're able to see AR and VR. all at the same period within each glass. So that would honestly, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing Facebook do that, Apple do it. Amazon has talked about doing something similar, but we're also watching Google with Google Glass come out with this. So I think that's going to honestly be the next evolution of the cell phone, right? And so it's going to be really interesting to see how this all correlates here. So we'll see what's up. All right, next. So when it comes to Meta here, I think Meta, I think it because when you look at the monthly, come on, it's just not going to work. Let me check here real quick. Oh man, it looks like there we are. All right, so we really don't have any real resistance until we get to the all-time highs here, from the monthly to the daily, or from the monthly to the weekly to the daily. Like it's a straight shot. So you can see here how we're playing off of that 8-period moving average. And so this month, at the end of the month, I would expect to see a pullback at the beginning of the month, and then can see it continue up into that 740 area. We could see an all-time high post by Meta here. Netflix, still gangbusters. I actually thought we were going to have a deeper pullback when it came to Netflix, but man, this thing, it just keeps running up. And so this idea behind where Netflix is at, it's already at an all-time high, and it keeps going. There's something to be paying attention to here. If it pulls back, we're definitely going to pick up some stock there and be able to get in at it at a low price. But really where I'm looking at is really the lows of last month, potentially just pulling back to that area there, which is going to be like that 927 area. Alrighty. Oh. Okay, then let's go ahead. Coke hit a little bit of a snag this month. We'll talk about that later, maybe. I kind of want to get back now down to MicroStrategy here. All this is set up for Strategy. So Strategy has done fairly good in relationship to their actual play. Michael Saylor is finally kind of learning, hey, I should buy in at the lows versus the highs, which is an actual good thing for him, because that means he's able to buy more Bitcoin. But more importantly, he doesn't become the exit liquidity for the institution, which I've talked about ad nauseum, almost irritating you guys. So this idea behind what's actually happening here and what he's doing is actually fairly good. It's actually a good thing for the market. Baby Draco says, there's folk here that have stickers on their Tesla saying, I bought this before Elon went nuts. Yeah, Michael has finally bought at lows. Well, I would say lows, but he's buying at lower points now versus actually going through and topping off. So maybe he had a couple friends of his who were like, hey, stop being an idiot and just wait for it to sell off, and he could become almost like a bottom. Instead of being a top offer, he can become a blow out the bottoms. I don't know what to call it. You know what I'm saying? Man, that is good. I buy this. It's called Ceremonial Cacao, and it's so good. If you're thinking about messing with a little bit like real cacao, real chocolate with the real fat, not the powder. I'm talking real cacao that's good for your veins, good for your complexion, great for your mind, great for your gut, great for your arteries. Check out this company. I absolutely love them. What are they called? Now I'm messing with it. I can't remember. Shoot. Ceremonial grade. Real producers, and where is this at? No, that's not them. And this company is like one of the top companies out there that actually produce chocolate, Vermont chocolate. Come on. They're right out of Brattleboro. Vermont. I am not a speller, as you guys can see here. Let's see if Copilot can help me out here because they're like, let's see right here real quick. Sailor is a bottom. Yeah, that's funny. I didn't even think about that. I wasn't even thinking about it. Farmhouse Chocolate in Bristol, Vermont. No, that's not it. They brought Vermont. I'll talk about this tomorrow. Somebody asked me, and I'll put it up there because it's so freaking good, man. But I make up this little tea. But I was talking with the owner. I called him up. But he called me back because I called him up for about something. And I've been doing about 1 teaspoon and a day. He's like, bro, I put up like the 3 teaspoons. And I go, you'll know. And you got to be careful because it is a diuretic. So it'll clean you out. But it's really good for your body. Good for just brain acuity. I think it could be used as a neurotropic because it keeps me focused on what I'm trying to do. And this thing just helps immensely. And it's really good for your body. It's good for your stem cells. It actually helps produce or remove plaque from your arteries in a lot of areas. It's good for your good cholesterol and really kind of pushes out bad cholesterol or pushes out the fat in your system that isn't good for your body. I throw in some Vermont, also from Vermont. What is it? Vermont. Man, I don't know why my brain is talking about having to remember everything. What time is it? I've been literally almost talking for, I think, 2 hours now. Oh yeah, going on 1:30. That's why my brain's going, dude. Enough. All right. Let's just go ahead. Let's finish this off here. Let's check it out here real quick. Okay. So we're watching Microsailor kind of push up here. Now, here's the key. And this is all predicated on what he starts to do. He's got a major resistance level right here. This was a huge sell-off area. So if he plays this smart, okay, and he doesn't freak out when institutions sell off on him, you can see it came up to here, and now it's starting to sold off a little. Once it starts to come into this supply area, if he's smart, and I know he is, all you do is you let it sell off, let MicroStrategy sell off, and then from there, when Bitcoin sells off here, which I'm explaining here soon, then you can buy in on both and you're able to leverage that. So what you want to do if you're looking to be buying a little bit of MicroStrategy, this is the area that you potentially could buy in at a lower rate. Again, this is not financial advice, but this is areas that I'm looking at to buy. And with that said, at that 330 or 373 area here to that 354 area. If it sells off further, look to get some. But at least that's what I'm doing. Now, let's check out Bitcoin now. All that to say, this is what's happening in the markets here. We're watching Bitcoin come up to the all-time highs here now. Now, you can see here when we had the huge sell-off this month, where we came down the 101 area here. It's funny, right? Huge sell-off. Excuse me. We had the huge sell-off go from the 109 all the way down to the 79. This month, and I've talked about this now actually multiple times, right? About the fact that we don't have a lot of volume coming in, right? And whenever you don't have a lot of volume, that means there's not a lot of convictions. And we're coming into an area of resistance. And so this 105 area to that 110 area is a good area for a bit of a sell-off first, and then a continuation of it going high. So this is kind of like what I'm expecting here. Coming up, and like I said, it could either hit that 1010 to the 106 area, or we could see it get up to that 115, 120 area and then see a bit of a sell-off. That's what I'm saying. If we see the sell-off, we then should see the sell-off in relationship to MicroStrategies and then be able to take part of that trade by buying in at that lower price. That's in a nutshell here. Let's check out. We went over a lot of these yesterday, but we'll go over it again here. But yeah, we're finishing off pretty strong with low volume here for the week. And you can see how we had bigger sell-offs for last month. So again, I do expect to see some type of pullback here before we really continue higher. Ethereum is looking really strong that we've talked about yesterday. The volume there was fairly high in comparative to Bitcoin. And so I'd expect to see us kind of come down, tap down, and potentially push up next month through that 3,000 area towards the end of the month here. Let's check out BNB. Perps. We came up into this area here. We're going to just take that off. Boom. Let me check the comments here for a second. Boom. Comments. Sailor is a bottom. Laugh out loud. You need a potion for memory. It's not that I need a potion for memory. It's just that you know as much as I do, trying to stay quick when you're the one handling the business, right? And you got to talk, think things through, doing everything. You're basically multitasking for about 2.5 hours. And then setting up everything is still complicated. So your brain just goes, hey, I'm tired after 2 hours of being online, thinking things through while at the same time talking. Just a lot. It's a lot. I don't understand how major commentators do it on the news. It's very difficult. Let's talk about this area for BNB. Well, we went over BNB. We went over all of these yesterday. The more and more I'm going over, I'm trying to think which one we did. I don't think we went over TON. I don't think we went over TON here real quick. Let me talk about TON here. TON here, you can see here we sold off at these levels here, and really this area down at that 273, we should cut deeper into this level and probably go into more of like that 250, 225 area here to come and test this level here, because you can see here that it's just we're seeing volume. We see more seller volume stepping in versus buyer volume stepping in. So yeah. Here we go. Then from there, we can check out Crow. As you guys know, I'm always looking at Crow. I like Crow. I think Crow rocks the mic. But more importantly, I like the fact that I can receive a pretty good stake on it, and by staking it. So it's really important to sit here and look at that. This area right here in the consolidation on Crow, we're showing some fairly good resistance for holding us. But you can see here that the sellers are dying off here. Here we are. So you saw an increase in volume from buying right here. You saw a decrease in sellers as it's selling. So you have this consolidation area. So again, we're playing off of this 400 period moving average and 200 period moving average, which is acting as resistance, which gives you a higher time frame, of 8 and 20 period moving average. It'll be really interesting to see if we close green on Crow, right? We should see kind of an explosion up to that 15, 16 cents as the next level here. And then potentially at this level here, if we see something like this where it comes up, excuse me, I don't mean to burp in your guys' ear. See here, it's this. comes back down, and kind of will go like this and come back down here again. So this is kind of what I'm expecting to see with Crow. So expect good things from here if we don't see a complete crash with crypto. If we see a complete crash in crypto, then expect to see Crow come back down. The other thing I want to bring up, Shiba. Yeah, let's go over Shiba Inu. Oh yeah, Shiba Inu, Mr. Beast, and Taylor Swift, the Swifties. Hey, hit the algorithm, get it going. Yeah, baby, yeah. What was it? You need a member for publishing. Major commentators have a production staff and lots of commercial breaks. Yes, good point, Mr. Hurley. It is amazing. I was literally fighting off right now. I am getting drowsy. You don't even understand. Like, I'm literally getting tired. My brain is like overclocked right now because I keep looking at comments and making sure that I'm still streaming. I'm also looking at a few other things. Obviously the charts, analyzing it. So you can get pretty bogged down. Your brain's like, hey dude, I can only go so long here before you start to get me to crash. So I'm like fighting. That's why you keep seeing me going, come on. I'm doing it. Here we go. Sorry about that. I know I'm like drinking in your guys' ear, but then I want to make sure you guys understand what I'm seeing. So if we break this, which we already have, the next level, like I said, I already went over this with Crow. Yeah, is to hit this at 15, come back down and get back up to that 25 cents area, which is going to be nice. For any of those guys who've been buying at the low levels here of that 7, 8, 9 cents. Next level here, if it decides to get going and catching some legs, it's going to be that 54.46 area. And then after that, all-time highs. And like I said, I talked about how I expect this bull run. I expect Crow to get probably to $2, $2, $3. And we talked about my predictions at the beginning of the year. And so it's still there. Here we go. This is where I expected to get $2, $3. That $3 area, $3 area. So it'll be really fun. Next level here, and let's check out. If you guys have any questions you guys want me to check out, I'm definitely here. BTC ripping, 5-minute chart hit a setup of mine and ripped. I love it, brother. I love it. Make sure you're make sure. I'm telling you, bro, now that you've really got some stuff nailed down, okay, I'll go and start opening up again that our sponsor, which would be Bybit. Go through and sign up underneath them. And Tom, I think you should start to do that, man, because you know what? You writing this down and you going through and checking it out is a big deal. But now it's time to profit off of that. Okay, next one here, H-bar and HNT. I like H-bar. H-bar is showing a lot of strength here. We're getting above that 8-period moving average on the monthly. And honestly, there's really nothing here to stop it, tell you the truth. It's kind of a clear run from here. Once we get above that 20-period moving average on the weekly here. When it comes down to your monthly, we're pretty much closed above it. Weekly, we were stuck in between these two, but on the daily, it's pretty much a clean run. These are just, there's nothing here that's really substantial. We may have some pullbacks here, like playing off of this, boom, and then going back up, but I don't see anything really holding us back down. There's nothing that's really engaged. We're the long-term push here of the 50-period moving average is starting to point up. And you can see here as the 89 is kind of like just kind of going sideways. So all you need is a week or two where you actually have some volume like this, expected to go up. And again, just like with Crow, we're seeing an increase in volume of buyers, a decrease in volume in sellers. So again, showing some strength here as we're kind of consolidating at this period, or this leg down for the next push up. H&T which is again one of those ones that I watch, is this area right here. Is consolidation here was kind of like a weak sell-off area. I get honestly, like you saw here when it started to push up, people were buying again. People were buying here as this was pushing up, and then as we're consolidating right here, we're consolidating right here, this last little bit, you're watching sellers kind of die off here. So again, I'm expecting to see H&T push up. You're going to have a couple resistance level though here, which is going to be your 200 right here. Potentially come back down that 400 as it comes in. And it comes back down and then see it go up. So again, it's prepping for another leg up here as we're watching that. When Bitcoin 200,000, baby. I do not know, man. I would say fingers crossed, by end of summer, right? That would be dope. That would be absolutely dope. Let's check out ICP. A lot of friends of mine definitely playing with the ICP card here. And you can see that this is playing pretty good here. You can see here also, it's a similar situation that we were just looking at. Increasing in volume, decreasing in sell volume, buy volume versus sell volume. See, people are definitely getting in here. We already went over Litecoin, Linked. Yes, Linked. Linked has been really, or Chainlink has been one of those ones that has kept strong here. And because they're so intrinsic within the blockchain and what they do, they're really a fundamental structure for Bitcoin, or not just Bitcoin, but just all of blockchain. And so watching what they're doing, that big banks understand what's actually happening here. And so if these levels here, you're now starting to see, right? Like, look, it's just as we're consolidating, similar to what we're seeing, this right here is one of those ones that are just simply looking strong. Just looking strong, which is a good way of putting it. Right there, nice little trend line right here. Nice little trend line right there. So I like it. I like it a lot. Either way, these lower levels with Chainlink is almost, I feel like, a bargain, literally because of who they are and what they do. So it's, their all-time high, I believe, was 52 area here. And at that $15 mark, I think we're going to see a Chainlink. Probably, it sounds crazy, but a 100 to 150 area, you could see this thing climb up to there. And so again, that'd be a 10x, a nice little 10x on a major coin as it moves up. And so that's it in a nutshell. I went over the markets pretty good today, kind of in detail. I'm going on almost 2 hours here now. And when it's just you, it is a lot. I'll finish it off with kind of going over the major news and the country, and crypto, and as well as the country. I'll go through and we can check it out here. News. Walter Guru, the Hawk Tuah girl, Haley Welch, says she didn't know how crypto worked after her meme coin crashed 95%. Sure. Okay. Fair enough. She maybe may not. Also, Elon Musk says Starlink is not allowed to operate in South Africa because I'm not black. There you go. That's what he said. That's kind of crazy. With his interview with I forget the lady's name, but yeah, that was kind of crazy. Saw that. Argentina President Javier Milei shuts down units investigating Libra crypto scandal. So that's interesting. Probably shouldn't do that, but we'll find out what happened. Here real quick, Justin, another thing, Elon Musk says he is moving forward in lawsuit against OpenAI. We're going to see what happens with that. I know that the original grounds for OpenAI was a nonprofit, but here's the thing though, like if you're gonna go after them, man, I mean, why? And if anything, just say, hey, look, let's restructure. And I would almost say him and OpenAI almost merge in a sense where they could come come join forces and really just start doing a lot together. This whole entire like they're okay, they decided to change their game plan. And yes, I know Elon Musk was the founder and everybody else came along with him and then he got out. He's the one who brought everything together. But obviously it evolved and has grown into a different circumstance. So this idea that him being upset about them going for profit is wrong. I really do. It's hurt innovation, and I think it hurts America seeing two of the largest producers of AI really fight with each other. It just doesn't make sense to me. Um, also, Elon Musk says he is still committed to being Tesla CEO in 5 years' time, unless he dies. And the whole entire, I forget who it was. I don't know if it was Washington. I think it was Washington Post, or was it the Washington? I forget which one is the liberal side, but they posted that he basically stepping down as CEO, which was a lie. That was the article I was actually trying to find with what we said. Actually, let me post that up and see, because I know I just said that. Which there we go. It was the Wall Street Journal. That's what the Wall Street Journal was one of the publications that reported on this. But Musk said Tesla's board denied the accuracy of the article. Musk has since confirmed that he is committed to remaining Tesla CEO for at least 5 years or until he dies. If you are looking for more details, all right, cool. You guys saw that there. And also, let's check this out. There we go. Oh, Trump speaking today about, I mean, outright just ripping on a lot of the Democrats, the far left, about the auto pen signature and them harping on a lot of that stuff is almost at a point where it's like, it's all right. We all know this, dog. Like, why are you like, why? I don't know if I'm just done with him harping on the small details. Like, let's get going, man. Like, yeah, he messed up the whole entire administration and how they lied about the border, how they lied about all these other things. Okay. But is it worth still vilifying these guys so that do you keep alienating the nation from the left and right, or do you figure out a way to bring them together, right? And you can mention and say, hey, yeah, we found this out. We found this out. Okay, cool. Bring it to the public. Public sees it. Then we go, okay, great. Now let's move forward. But by him just keep holding on to what he's doing, I almost feel like it is a little too much. You know, it's like, come on, man. We know it's all messed up. We get it. We're not, we knew it was messed up. Many of us knew what was happening down in the border was wrong. Watching Tesla getting ready to bring in their National Guard and other 20 nations or other 20 states out there supporting them, right? Saying, we'll back you if the U.S. government keeps this open, which was really interesting. So, yeah, anyways, long story short, we are Shiano stand. But speaking of Trump as well, Iran is ready to sign a nuclear deal with the U.S. President Trump under certain conditions in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. And NBC reports. Again, NBC reported it. I would say for him not to, literally because he's out in 4 months. And if they have, or excuse me, in 4 years or 3.5 years, no, not even that, 3/4 of a year. No, because he's going on 6 months. Sorry. Either way, you know what I'm saying. And the reality is this, is if you make Iran rich from lifting off those sanctions, when you're out or something happens, what is to stop them? We already have seen them multiple times create terrorist groups, and they fund these terrorist groups with a lot of the money that they got from what was actually happening with Biden's administration. Then again, this sets up for a negative connotation in the future, and we basically could be just funding them, because that's kind of like what they do. It's also scary to see what's actually happening with China and what's happening with Pakistan and that whole entire situation that's happening there with the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative. So it's just one of those things that I think keeping the nation itself until they outright take the idea of a genocide against all against a certain group of people out of their constitution, then that would be something okay. Saying, hey, maybe they really are starting a real reform and trying to grow and mature. But until they remove that out of their constitution, should we listen to them? I don't know. Russian President Putin will not attend Turkey's talks with Zelensky, appoints a Russian delegate instead, which I thought was a cheap move from what was being said from him originally. And in addition to that, Tom called this yesterday saying, yeah, he doesn't trust Russia, and he thinks Putin is very much as corrupt from the ground up. That's where he started, from the ground. And honestly, the reality is he's really we've seen him put in some pretty nefarious, he's just gone back on his word multiple times, and we can't necessarily trust him. So he keeps proving it over and over and over here. The other part I thought was really interesting, and I thought this was really interesting. This was the Iranian Supreme Leader. I have a hard time saying his name, so I'm not going to say it. Says the U.S. and Europe today suffers due to the same-sex marriage, and this is growing more severe every single day. And I'm actually shocked that this wasn't published throughout all of the, publications, because they're so left-leaning that anything that talks against what is actually happening with that agenda really just, it doesn't matter who you are, you talk against it. So we already know that Iran is not pro LGBTQ plus. So it's just one of those things. Or as I heard somebody say the alphabet. So they're not pro alphabet. They literally take their citizens who subscribe to that thought process, they drop them off of buildings. They publicly bring them in front of the town square, and they do horrible things to them. So, they're actually playing their own card here. Also, U.S. and Qatar signed major economic deal as part of the 1.2 trillion commitment. And it was really interesting is that the leader of Qatar simply was talking about how he is not he's like, what's the deal between this plan? This is simply just giving it to your guys' nations, i.e. Trump. And so he doesn't understand the details. So it looks like the plane is not going to be part of the deal, or not the plane, but the airline cruiser. So we'll see what happens from there. But ultimately, it was really interesting to see how this all played out, which I thought was really interesting. The actual picture of the Saudi crown prince, and the guitar leader there was really interesting. I thought it was really interesting because the way you saw their interaction, just I thought it was a little bit different. But we'll say Qatar signed 200, 1, 2, 3 million billion aviation agreement with the United States to buy Boeing jets. So it's $200 billion worth of buying Boeing jets. So we'll see how that goes as well. But ultimately, that is kind of like what we're seeing today over the last few days here with what we've saw with BRICS and also a lot of the other world news. And tomorrow, we will be on at the same time, same place here. So if you guys want to come in and check us out, you're more than welcome. And that's it in a nutshell. I do not have any outro, so I'm going to get that from Tom today. But no outro. Thank you for coming in today. I see there's only one person watching, which is funny. And that's probably just me. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming in. And those who are catching the replays, if you have any questions, any concerns, want me to look at any coins, I'm always here. Thank you for coming in, and I'll talk to you guys soon.